Welcome back to the to the Tempest 2 podcast. We are back. Would you believe it?
Again, we're like a boy band that keeps running out of money
Yeah,
and keeps going on. We're like Blue.
Conor McGregor keeps coming out of retirement. We brought the podcast
Yeah,
back more than
so
Floyd Mayweather.
we've retired ourselves twice now probably, and we're back by semi-popular demand.
Yeah, semi-popular demand, meaning it's the most popular thing that we do.
Let's kick off with that, right? Why are we back? And considering we've been running businesses now for basically 10 years, almost to the month, and we've done a lot of things from keynotes to creating content, to adventures and stuff. And the only thing that a small group of people seem to really care about, the most texts I get about anything is like, "Oh, hey, how are you? Are you guys bringing the pod back?" And it's like, why out of everything do people care about this?
No idea.
Like, it's the only thing that makes no money. That's the annoying thing. We make no money. Why do you care about this thing? Why can't it be something that makes money? But whatever.
It's definitely
Fine.
the case for me. Just texts from people saying, we need the podcast back. Oh, I was chatting to my mate at a wedding the other day and he listens to your podcast. It's like, wait, hang on a minute. This wasn't the podcast that was supposed to be listened to. We thought people were actually listening to it. We would have taken it a bit more seriously.
It is back in its third iteration. I think it's probably worth explaining what it now is, because that's the important part. And the reason we stopped doing it before is, to be honest, it was a pain in the arse. We were gaining nothing from it. And it was just so loosey-goosey that we were actually like, if our clients listen to this, we're probably going to lose business. So now we're purely going to be talking about geopolitics and serious stuff.
And maths.
Nothing else. And maths. But I think what we want to get from this, which is probably the most important thing, we need to enjoy doing it, is it's almost the antithesis to the majority of personal development podcasts, in the sense that, I don't know, a lot of podcasts about health and wellness and longevity and performance are all quite serious. They're all a little bit deep for our liking. I personally literally don't listen to any of them anymore. Yet I still care quite a lot about that, I guess, that world. But I think as we've got older, we've become a little bit desensitized to the snake oil out there. And we wanted to just create the most unpretentious version of a personal development podcast on the market.
Yeah, agreed. I think.
But what does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, as sad as it is, we say we don't care about the personal development stuff, or like we can't listen to the podcast. It's, to what you said, it's because of the way that it's delivered. Like, sadly, it is what we talk about with each other a lot all the time. It's kind of the world that we're in, the world that we work in is about performance, being better, getting uncomfortable, all that sort of stuff. But we think that the mainstream way that it's delivered and that you can listen to it is just garbage, to put it frankly. So we thought we might as well air the conversations that we have, like, privately, and just use it as that being the basis of what this podcast is all about. It's just sharing our thoughts on the things that we see, the things that we're interested in, the things that we've done, and just give our take on it. And there will be, we don't agree on everything, and that's kind of the point of it, I suppose, is just you will probably fall somewhere on either my side of the fence or Tom's side of the fence, or when we agree on things, you might think we're complete idiots, which would be totally fair enough. But we thought we'd just give our approach to it, and we wanted to record a podcast that we think that we would want to listen to, which is kind of where, I guess, why we're back. If that makes sense.
You might learn a few things. You might not learn some things, some episodes, but at the very least, it should be a nice, fun listen.
Amen.
But so, an update. So what have we been up to for last year? I mean, a lot of the same stuff. A lot of the same stuff. You've still got a child, which is great. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
Yeah, still here.
Still keeping a person alive, which is impressive. I still don't have a child, so congratulations to me as well, might I add. We've gone through a dark winter. I'm going to try not to moan about the weather so much on this podcast, but it
Episode
will
1.
naturally happen. We are still speaking all over the world, from Zanzibar, San Diego, Berlin, Athens this year. Still talking about that row that was 10 years ago. Where are we now? It's spring. The weather has changed. There we go. Straight into the weather. Straight into the weather. Common ground. Weather has changed. I'm looking out my window. The sun is shining. Moods are high. And I think it's a great time for us to kick this back off. The clocks have changed. We've gained an hour. And that's where we are. That's where we're going to start this podcast.
Love that.
Spring, a new beginning, a reset, optimism, ambition, performance, mindset. Okay.
We're in.
Here we bloody go.
Yeah, I love the annual update. Maybe it'll be another year after this one.
Yeah, exactly. We'll speak to you like when we're 40. We'll kick it back off again.
But you were, I guess, to dive in on the clocks going forward, you had said something to me, day before yesterday, about this thing that you read. But I think that I think might be a lie, but I'm not too sure. But I think you should share that, because that was weirdly interesting.
Right. Everyone listening to this, I imagine, will remember. God, it must have been 5 years ago now. That sleep scientist Matthew Walker, British guy, like the voice on sleep. He released a couple of books and went massive, and was on Joe Rogan and all the big podcasts about the importance of sleep. And there was one statistic that he shared. I can't remember 99% of the stuff he used to say, but there was one that always stuck with me, because I was always like, that seems a little bit mental. And I used to say it in conversation to people because I found it amazing. But then over the years, I've kind of been like, that sounds actually like bullshit. But the stat was that, globally, when the clocks change, when we lose an hour's sleep, there is a 25% increase in heart attacks across the board. And he was like, that is down to the fact that we lose an hour's sleep. And I always thought, well, that is absolutely staggering. What an amazing stat. And then it was actually when you had Florrie, and I remember like you just being like, mate, I had like 2 hours sleep in a week. And it suddenly dawned on me, it's like, if that was the case, if there was a 25% uptick in heart attacks due to a 1 hour lack of sleep, why don't the majority of parents die like within the first 2 months of having a child? Why don't we die every time we fly to LA? Like, it is complete nonsense. So I dug into it. When the clocks changed recently, it prompted me, because I saw a clip again, resurfaces every year of he's on Joe Rogan, I think, and he's talking about it. So I dug into it, and it's just been very much diluted and misquoted, etc. And there's been multiple studies by like the University of Michigan, etc., that have basically come out being like that. There is no real validation to that. Duke University did a analysis on 170,000 patients over a decade, found no significant increase in heart attacks during those weeks around daylight saving times. Same thing with 2 other universities. So I can, hand on heart here, tell you finally that Matthew Walker was chatting absolute bullshit.
In the bullshit bin, Matthew.
Bullshit. But on the topic of sleep, because we speak about this quite a lot, especially since you've become a father. I am awful on like a lack of sleep. Like, it properly shuts me down. Have you just built this muscle of just being able to just operate off 3, 4, 5 hours sleep?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, but I think before having Florrie, I guess I was pretty good anyway. My whole thing when we first had her was I used to sleep terribly anyway. I used to be tired all the time anyway. Even if I slept for like 10 hours, wake up like, I'm shattered. How's this happened? So the difference is, it's like kind of the same. But I think this is what I tell myself anyway, is it's all like the narrative that you give yourself.
Ooh.
Okay. There is, I read like an absolute librarian, so there is something called the...
Do librarians read? Or do you think it's like one of those things where, it's like if you work in a nice restaurant, it's like, or you're a chef, it's like you must cook amazing food at home, and it's like, by the time I get home, I'm so tired and I'm so done with cooking. Do you think librarians are like that? They're like, I can't fucking look at another book, I promise.
No, I think you've got to be a true bookworm to work in a library. And also just to
Maybe.
be okay to just sit in silence. That's the most impressive thing.
If there are any librarians listening, which I'm sure there are multiple who listen to this podcast, please do get in touch and let us know if you're prolific readers or not. That would be awesome.
Please do. But anyway, there's something called the expectancy effect, which is basically, put very simply, it's like you feel the way you think you feel. So if you can lie to yourself enough that you're not that tired, you can get away with quite a lot, or probably more in the fact that you hear people say, I really don't need a lot of sleep. I don't need a lot of sleep to get by. It's like everyone needs at least 7 hours, really. But those people like tell themselves you can get by for a long time without doing that much. But the thing that I think does happen when you've got a kid, at least, this is not a parenting podcast, so I won't talk about it too much, but you just get shitter at other things. So you
Like what?
like you can get by on very little sleep, but it literally feels like, especially early on when your sleep's getting interrupted massively and you're not getting back to sleep. I feel like you're just cutting corners. Even in conversations, you just can't even be asked to have a proper conversation. So your brain is just making the easy. That's why you eat. It's why people who, like new parents, just eat junk food. There's just no capacity for decisions or persistence or tolerance to anything. It's just the classic. Stick the TV on if the baby's crying, eat the junk food, whatever it is. So you can get by, but you're not the best you by any stretch. So like,
You're like one of those like robot vacuum cleaners that
yeah,
just
basically.
goes around the room just smashing into things,
Yeah.
but eventually will get around the room just by hitting things and bouncing off and following the path of least resistance.
Exactly. So I think that's more the reality. So it's easy to tell myself that I'm quite good with no sleep when you can do that sort of thing, or you muddle around, you send emails and speak to people or speak on stage. You can concentrate for that 1 hour, and then everything aside from that falls to pieces.
I do find, remember, so we gave a talk in San Diego, literally the first gig we had this year. Flew to San Diego, obviously long haul, big jet lag going that way to California. And I can remember in my life 2 occasions, both were with traveling with you actually, where I logged a 0-minute night for sleep. Because usually, you're like, oh, I barely slept last night. But it's like, actually, you did probably an hour, 2 hours, maybe even 3, just kind of in and out. The first time was when we were in Wales, staying at my friend Coxey's house. We were shooting the promo video for The Row, remember, in Pembrokeshire?
Yep.
And we were in a room, 3 of us staying in one room, and there was a bat in the room. And this bat was swooping down next to my face. Like, it was like making my hair move. It was getting so close. And you 2 were asleep, and I kept waking you up being like, lads, like, there's a bat in here. It won't leave me alone. And I didn't sleep a minute.
I mean,
that was the first time.
Just to go on that one, that's still one of the funniest nights of all time. We got every weapon that he had in his house, from a tennis racket to a baseball bat and a cricket bat. And 3 of us were trying to take out this bat
This bat was prolific.
I mean,
absolutely prolific.
This was pre-COVID. They had a better brand back then.
Maybe it was a Wuhan bat. Maybe. But it was like we created this like character for it. It was just like, it sounded like Dracula. It was like, welcome to my fucking bat. It was just absolutely running amok.
Brilliant.
It was incredible.
I'd forgotten about that.
But San Diego was the second time where we checked in, nice hotel. It was like, okay, so we got to kind of start working tomorrow. And then the anxiety kicks in where it's like, whoa, I'll watch a bit of NBA on the TV because it's on 24/7 in America. And it's like, of course, it's like 2 a.m. It's like, I should probably try and get some sleep now. And then it's like, I am not even remotely tired. And then it's like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Then it's like, shit, now I'm panicking. Took some melatonin, start to read because reading sends me to sleep. None of it worked. And then it was just like, you text me being like, I'm awake. It's just like, oh no, I've done it.
So I'm awake.
I pulled an all-nighter.
Yeah,
I pulled an all-nighter here.
Yeah, I remember the panic in your voice, actually, because we had a big day on the stage as well. It was like 3 hours or something, wasn't it?
It was not good.
You got
It was
through it.
not good.
I mean, the 8-hour time difference is a bit of a kicker anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, that will shaft you. And I think it just derails me. If I get probably on average 8 hours sleep minimum every night, have done for years. So if I get anything 7.5 and below, um, like literally I can feel it in my throat. It's quite sad actually. I'm honestly a bit of a wreck. I feel awful.
That is genius. But you went sleepless, so not only did you get less than the 1 hour when the clocks change, you did far better than that, and you still didn't die. So,
and I still didn't have a heart attack.
said that to
So
Matthew.
debunked. That is debunked officially.
I mean, I wonder if that's just, when your authors and these researchers are like breaking through, they've got to make some groundbreaking statement that they can hang their hat on. 25% seems incredibly bold, doesn't it? Maybe like 0.25%.
That is like a global situation.
Yeah, that's so true.
That's like the dinosaurs kind of vibe. Like, that is a huge issue for humanity.
Yeah.
If 25% of people that get 1 hour, like, what?
It's like,
that is not true.
Guys, the clocks are going forward. There's about to be 2 billion heart attacks.
Like, surely hospitals would be overwhelmed and like insurance premiums would be through the roof.
Yeah, that's insane. When you think about it, that is ridiculous. But
absolute
it worked for him. Absolute springboard for him. And now he's on Rogan looking like a new man.
He's got a ponytail as well now, which like, that is the sign of a man who's sold one too many books.
Yeah, just gives nay fucks.
Yeah, it's like, someone has been weirdly successful quite quickly.
It's like, Matthew,
when a ponytail comes out.
Matthew, you've slept a little bit too much.
He's been to Burning Man. He's got a couple of properties around the world, and he's got a ponytail and like a 22-year-old wife now. I imagine, probably. I imagine that isn't fact, but I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to him. Not for that one, just for the success in his life, really.
Do you know what? If we become overnight successful, there will be signs, and a ponytail will be one of them.
Yeah, on our next podcast in a year's time, if you've got a ponytail, then we know it's gone well.
We know it's gone well.
That's ridiculous.
But on the sleep thing, I've made a significant change in my life in the last month. And that is, the reason I knew how well or how little I've slept is because, and you wear one as well, I've been wearing a Whoop band for a number of years.
Oh yeah, you've taken yours off, haven't you?
I've got rid.
I noticed that.
I've got rid. It's gone. Because, and this is kind of, it's also in the news as well, that they've just raised $500 million in a latest fundraising round. The company's valued at over $10 billion, which just seems absolutely wild to me. The funny thing is, it shows there's this huge focus and huge kind of wave of people wanting to know their stats, their data, longevity, what they eat, how they train, how they sleep, all that kind of shit. But I got to the stage where, I was tracking all this data, my sleep, how many times I trained a week, etc. And I was just like, I'm not doing anything with this. I'm not doing anything with it. The whole point of collecting data is so you can analyze the data and then make a change, right? So you look at professional sport, Formula One, NBA, they are just absolutely collecting millions and millions and millions of points of data so they can make a change in, the next week's game. We know that their quarterback, 80% of the time, throws it over there in this part of the game. Cool, you can act on that. Like, I had all this data and it was like, you're tired because you slept badly. I fucking know I'm tired, mate. Like, I was the one. It was me. It was me asleep or not asleep.
Yeah, it was
Why do I need? Yeah, it was me. Why do I need this weird little band to tell me, oh, you're doing great? Like, it just made no sense. So I've got rid of it. And it was just like giving me anxiety. Like, waking up and being like, you slept shit. And as you said earlier, for then I'm like, oh no, I'm going to have an awful day.
Yeah.
Because I slept shit. And so often it was completely wrong because I knew how I'd slept and it was just like making stuff up. So yeah, I've got rid. I am no longer a whooper.
Interesting. Yeah.
But what's your verdict on it? Because you still wear it.
I still really like
it.
In the ocean. I really like it. Yeah, I lost mine. Why do I like it? Good question. Because I do agree with all of the things you've just said. You know, they weren't even a thing, I don't know, 5 years ago? I can't remember how long it's been around. 8 years ago, whatever it is. But I like the... So firstly, I agree. It can be annoying when it gives you a fucking red score. I can't seem to get in the green. For those that don't know, you've been living under a rock. Like Whoop measures all of your health metrics, all of them, by just measuring your heart rate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week consistently. And the kind of the power in it, unlike Apple Watches or Garmin, I guess, unless you wear them all the time, is that you can not take it off. You know, you can charge it on your wrist, you can leave it on. It's supposed to be small enough and out of the way enough that you can measure everything. And it gives you recovery scores based on how you recover, how your heart rate recovers after stress and exercise, of red being shite, yellow being average, and green being good. And I cannot seem to get green, which is really annoying, especially because I don't do anything exciting like have beers or go out and have massive dinners or any of that stuff anymore. And I still can't get in the green. So it's like, you know, I might as well. But I feel like it's expensive for this, but just a snapshot on my health trends over a long period of time. If I look at it on a day-to-day basis, it does just annoy me because it doesn't show very much. But when I look at it over the last 3 months, I can see that my VO2 max is increasing. You know, my recovery score is getting better somewhat because I've been having like healthier habits. So it is backing up what I'm doing. So I think
Here's my thing there. So, you know, it gives a VO2 max, it gives a biological age. Here's a question, like, how the hell does it know your VO2 max? Because we've both done VO2 max tests.
Yeah.
And they're pretty scientific.
Yeah.
You have to push yourself like to the absolute limit. How the fuck does a Whoop band know your VO2 max?
Well, it's just purely based on your heart rate and skin temperature, isn't it?
Which is fucking nonsense.
But if it keeps doing it over many times, it like builds a good picture. You know, it's like being standing on a scale that might be a bit out, but if you do it consistently enough for long enough, like you still get a picture if you're losing weight. I don't think you can ever hang any weight on the metrics that it gives you, but which is what I'm saying. Like over a long period of time, and like the reality is that you really don't need one of these. You really can. I could have not had this, done everything that I've done over the last 3 months in terms of exercising a bit more, sleeping a bit better, like eating a bit healthier, and I would still feel better. The Whoop doesn't do anything for that. But it does feel like a bit of a... I mean, I never look at it and like, I'm not going to have that beer because I've got a Whoop band on. But maybe subconsciously, there's something of a... You know, I'm saying that, but that's not how I feel. But like it's tracking it. You know, it's gonna show me. It's kind of like, because when I would get annoyed at the recovery score, it's like that's not Whoop's fault. You know, it's just like getting mad at your accountant and they tell you you've got no money in your bank. It's like, yeah,
which we still do.
Yeah.
It's my dad.
Yeah, poor guy.
What do you mean we've got no money, Dad? Fucking hell.
Yeah, exactly. Angry at him as well. So I think it's definitely a weird one. And I will finish by saying I don't think it's worth 10 billion.
No, I mean, you know, absolute hats off to them. They have built a well-branded heart rate monitor. Let's be honest. That is what it is.
Exactly.
Athletes on their cap table, you know, LeBron wearing it, macro, like what they've done from a brand company perspective is magnificent. But it literally does nothing more than my Apple Watch or my Garmin, like nothing more. Zero capability increase on that, apart from a longer battery. But I think it's quite interesting. Like I saw Tim Ferriss wrote an article recently, and we won't speak about it today. I think it deserves an entire episode. You know, Tim Ferriss, for those that don't know, is, you know, I guess the original guru on personal development. Literally wrote the books on it, literally interviewed everyone. I think he is literally the guy that brought morning routines into everyone's life, to be honest. Used to listen to his podcast like religiously when we first started the company. And he wrote an article on Twitter recently basically saying that whilst he loves personal development and everything it's done for him and the benefits that it reaps, he is actually moving the other way in terms of there is this negative side to over optimization of just worrying constantly about how have I slept? What macros do I need to hit today? Do I need to get sunlight on my face? Just this constant deluge of things that you need to do this, otherwise you are not optimized.
Yeah.
And I think what people forget is if you're sitting at a desk for 12 hours a day, it doesn't matter what you're fucking doing, you are not optimized. You're not optimizing for anything, really. And I think that's something that, you know, as I've got older, I'm beginning to see more of. It's just like, just stop worrying and just go and do shit. Like, have a few beers. Like, the amount of 1% that I got on my Woot band after having some drinks the night before, it was like I was being told off by a teacher. It was just like, you have moments to live, you dirty bastard. And I'm not doing it anymore. I won't have that burden.
I mean, that's just your heart rate telling you off. It's like, not another one, not another Jaeger bomb.
Body temperature up like 4 degrees. It's like, you should go and see someone immediately.
I think I might be allergic to beers because if I have like 2 pints, I get a 2% recovery score. Which is insane.
It's not the guilt. Like, the last thing you want on a bit of a dusty hangover where you've got a bit of fear is a little device telling you you're a scumbag for having a good time. I won't deal with that guilt anymore. It's not worth it.
I think that Tim Ferriss stuff is interesting, actually, because I think he is obviously at so far up that end of the scale. His life is being all about optimizing, right, and productivity and helping people do that. But I guess, and I think it made me think about Woot bands as well, and actually where I might be wrong with the valuation is we're kind of at that side of the spectrum as well. As you said, we've been listening to Tim Ferriss and involved in that stuff for 10 years, at least more. So when you see a device or another product or food or whatever it is that is the next hack, you kind of just like, here we go, like another one. But there's so many people on the complete other side of the spectrum who are just getting into this, like...
Yeah, very true.
You know, I don't even know what you call it, self-development, optimization stuff. But I think the issue that we have, and when we speak to people all the time, is when the optimization gets in the way of actually doing the thing. And it's, we do it as well. You know, I don't think everyone is guilty of it, but you get everything right before you actually just do the thing. And we've been cold calling people this week, right? Which we've never really done before.
Fucking hell, that's horrible, by the way.
And it's awful, but my default thing was to try and plan out to the fucking second. It's a form of procrastination. And then what am I going to do here? And then, maybe I'll use this and I'll do that. It's like, just fucking call them. Just do that. At the moment, you've spent 2 hours thinking about what you're going to do when they don't pick up the phone.
I did exactly the same.
It's terrible.
Exactly the same.
Fine, guys.
I don't know why. I honestly think if you want to be successful in business, having a job when you're young where you are trying to cold sell people, either door-to-door sales or cold calling, is an absolute master skill. Just to have that like lack of fear of just interrupting someone and selling is such an amazing thing to have in your locker, because it is. I don't know why it's so hard. Well, I actually think it's got way worse since COVID. Because, you know, if someone calls you now without planning it, it's like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, how dare you not like organize a Google Meet or a calendar invite for? It's just like even more taboo now. And especially with AI and like AI bots and voice, like, it's just like, God, the anxiety I had calling people.
Yeah, it's such a good point. You know, we literally spend our career talking about and telling people to do the uncomfortable thing, like do the hard thing. It's where like the progress is, etc., all that stuff. And then something as simple as this, we've been doing the opposite. And we also say that all of this stuff is like a muscle. So we use the LCAP example of, you know, when we were learning how to climb, it was awful. We were avoiding it at all costs. But actually, when we were on the side of LCAP on the nose, it started to become normal. And it was like the comfiest we ever felt climbing was, funnily enough, when we were 2,000 foot up the side of LCAP, because our brain, our mind had like got used to it and built this like comfortability with it. And the same is just true with everything that you do. So I actually had a job. The first job that I had out of school before I went to uni was cold calling people for a recruitment company, a mixture of companies to try and win the business to recruit for them, and then also calling candidates. And I got shut down more times than I can count, but I made 200 cold calls a day, every single day.
Now 200.
200. It was just a landline phone, and you got a bonus if you were the person who did the most cold calls. So I just made sure that was me, because I got paid like £3 an hour outside of that. So it's like just hammer the phone simply. I mean, I'm sure the chat I had was terrible, but after a week of doing it, you're in an open office with 100 people. They can all hear you dying on the phone, trying. After I'd done it for a week or 2 weeks, it was just totally normal. But it just completely disappeared. I haven't done it since. So that's 15 years ago or something. So the thought of then calling people this week was petrifying, because the muscle had completely disappeared.
Yeah, fuck. I'm gonna hit the phones next week. It's just never done it, purely because it's just like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna send cold emails instead, which they work really well. Everyone loves a cold email.
Yeah, I think it is such a good point, isn't it? When everything and everyone is going, this is not scientific at all, by the way. So disclaimer here, this could be complete horseshit. But when when everything is going AI, like automated messaging, like scraping people's LinkedIn for personal information, but it's all LinkedIn messages, emails, kind of going the other way and picking the phone up and just calling someone when they're not expecting it and being like genuine could probably go a long way, I think. Well, I know that I pick up the phone to people who cold call me, and I don't tell them to get off the phone immediately, but I don't open half of the cold emails that come in because there's so many. Yeah.
Maybe this is going to become a cold calling podcast. And
no, would you believe it? Maybe we'll be bought by Oracle in a couple of years' time. Maybe not.
On that then, final thing that I wanted to discuss on the topic of phones and AI and screens is you did a bit of a self-imposed digital detox recently, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
You've actually been off Instagram a while now, which is annoying for me because all I do is send you reels. So I'm just sending
memes landing nowhere.
When you download it now, there is going to be a library of hilarious memes and reels from myself. But right, talk us through what you did, why you did it, and the findings.
Yeah, so you are right. Actually, it was on the New Year's Eve last year. I deleted Facebook and Instagram and Twitter off my phone, mainly because I was just spending loads of time on it just to see how it felt. They're still deleted because I didn't feel like I missed much. Turns out you can get a lot of the reels on YouTube Shorts anyway. So I didn't necessarily save myself much there. But then I guess in the extension of that, I was just I had a bit of a realization a few weeks ago where I think I was having a conversation with someone and I was looking at my screen time, and it's always pretty shocking. I think the thing that got me was the amount of times I pick up my phone, not necessarily time spent.
Wild.
Because there's Spotify and WhatsApp. There's so much on the phone that the screen time almost kind of makes sense. But the fact that I was checking it, 150 times a day, just picking it up to stare at it, was just hit me with a wave of embarrassment and shame. So it's like, well, when was the last time I had a completely screen-free day? Not just the phone, but laptop, TV. And I thought it would have been on the Atlantic or on the climb or in Patagonia. And I thought, nope, they all had our phones on them, taking pictures or listening to music. And I can't remember the last day. It's been embedded. And it was kind of a mixture of that paired with kind of what I was saying earlier, that we always talk about doing the uncomfortable thing or the harder thing. And I thought, actually, it's probably going to be really hard and weird to not have any screens for a day. So I'll just make that a very simple challenge. And I shared my intentions on LinkedIn because, as we know, if you tell people you're going to do it, you're much more likely to do it than if I'd have just kept that to myself. I would have woke up and watched basketball highlights like I normally do. And I had a few people message me and say, yeah, they're keen to do it as well. So I jumped on Lovable, built a little website and a challenge, and about 61 people signed up to it, and
Pretty good.
I shared it maybe 2 or 3 times. And yeah, it's great. I got loads of emails and stuff of people before saying, "Oh, I'm doing this with my family," and people afterwards saying, "Oh, it was great." And it was interesting actually. I think I noticed it in the morning and the evening more so than the middle of the day. When you've got plans. But the thing that I noticed the most was those times I'd just tap my pockets, and what would have been one of those checks just wasn't there anymore. That was the most obvious thing, was just the default automatic muscle memory to just reach for my phone, standing in a queue to get a coffee. It's like, oh my God, it's weird to just stand here and not look at my phone. It's weird to go to the toilet and not pull my phone out.
Yeah, that's mental.
Yeah. Amazing how quick it can be if you've not got your phone in there, by the way.
It's like weird. It's like I don't need the toilet anymore.
Turns out I never did.
This turns out I just want to sit on my phone.
Yeah, it was. So there were a few
quiet place.
Yeah, exactly. There are a few good things. I mean, it was great, to be fair. It was a great day. It felt like the day was much longer, and I guess it was 3.5 hours longer than it normally feels like, because that was my average screen time before on my phone. So there's 3.5 hours, I guess, where I'm not doing that, where I'm doing something else. I read a fair bit more, and just had conversations, mainly with my wife, where we would usually be sat
Crikey.
in your face.
It's like, whoa.
And how was that?
How is she, by the way?
Oh, no, I wasn't listening.
I was just thinking about my phone.
But usually we'd have the TV on, I'd be on my phone, just God knows what, looking at anything. Sometimes the TV would be on, I'd be doing random bits of worky stuff on the laptop, and I'd be on my phone on Instagram. It's just like,
yeah. You've got to triple bang it sometimes.
the triple play.
It's an absolute, it's a no-brainer.
So this was like going cold turkey, just off to nothing. It's like, hey, yeah. How are you?
How was your day? You got a little cue card.
But it was,
Yeah.
no, it was very
Fair play.
good. I would highly, highly recommend it. It was very good.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's a good shout. I'd like to do it next time you do it. I think it is. That's the thing that gets me. It's not just the time on the phone. It's I catch myself. Like we were actually out for lunch a couple of weeks ago, and I went for a wee, like halfway through lunch, and if I'm at a urinal, it's like a fluid movement. I'll just bang my phone out straight onto Instagram, and it's like in one hand I'm holding two things at once here, but like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing? And then so like Manny would be like, "You just viewed my story, like in the last 2 minutes. Did you like in the toilet?" It's like, yeah. She's like, "That is so weird."
Yeah,
It's
nice
like,
picture, by the way.
well, yeah, it's like, yeah, you look great, well done. But yeah, it's so bad.
Yeah, so it's
So bad.
the start of a revolution. It's been going for ages, guys, but I think it's more like I don't want to not use it. I just want to, by doing that, it made me, just be have a bit more intent when you do use it. I'm not like anti-tech. I'm just like, I don't want to look at it 150 times a day.
Yeah.
By it not being there, it like makes you realise a bit more.
I think the average in America is 7 hours and 4 minutes looking at screens. That's a long time, isn't it? I mean, in the workday, just looking at a screen all day. I knew, let's be honest, but like, you can't not when you're working.
When I was planning, what it was going to be, what the day was going to be, I was like, it'd be cool to do it on a work day. And I was thinking, and like, how did work happen in the 80s? It's just like, yeah, fax, filing, papers,
phones and
phoning
faxes,
each other.
Yeah.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah. Don't do that in the workday.
Like, this is really annoying.
It's like, I'm going screen free. It's like, okay, we need to have a meeting about this.
It's like, you're going to have to fax me.
Your productivity is significantly
I
dropped.
bought a fax machine here. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, but I think it's a good exercise to do.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I would recommend it. Good stuff, though.
Maybe.
Good stuff.
Well, shit me, it's 40 minutes. That's too long. That's too long.
Episode.
30 minutes.
Fire first episode back.
30 minutes is our sweet spot, I think. So let's cut it down. Let's cut it down next
a
time.
lot of waffle in there.
All right, we're back. See where this goes. Could be great. Could be just 6 episodes and we bin it again, but we'll keep you on your toes. But for those that ask, you're welcome. We're back in your ears, and we look forward to trying to figure out what the hell to speak about next week.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.